Good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Rao Kalasu coming to you on the evening of this Friday. Um, I want to talk about my journey with meditation and how it has started, how I learned things on the way, and how things are really um, very happy for me at this stage, where I am not practicing meditation, but I am in a state of meditation all the time. That is something I usually say, but it's not like a overnight thing, but it's more like a journey towards this. Okay, from not understanding what is meditation, why it is needed, why it is very healthy for us to do, especially with this overload era. I really believe that we need to start and understand and really take advantage of the knowledge that a lot of people already put up there, right? Now, it all depends upon what kind of lifestyle you have and how you have been using meditation or not. Okay, some people don't need to do meditation at all because they are very quiet naturally, and then they don't work themselves too much with the situations, and they don't let the mind be either stimulated or sedated, anything like that. I think those kind of people are pretty rare in our present society and civilization. It used to be like that. People really valued that. But now we kind of think we can think all day and let the mind be beaten up so many times that, and then expect everything to be normal. Uh, Especially with the growth of so much of information from everywhere, we are having the problems too, right? So that's why I thought this is relevant, this is important, and this is something I want to give my take on that, and which may be relevant to you or not, which may not be something interesting for you or not. But I just want to let people know what is my travel with this. Where did I start? Where did I end up? And then what is the thing that I'm valuing now, and that could be useful for a lot of my friends who are the doctors and nurses, and also other information workers. Almost everybody is like that now, right nowadays, right? From kids to young students to college student, university, anything you take, people have been using a lot of information these days, and also getting their mind work all the time, and they don't know how to calm it and how to really uh, get it under our control, right? So I grew up in India, but I grew up in an urban area where mostly all English culture, like and then the meditation that we didn't call it meditation, but our teachers and our school or our parents, what they showed us was how they are praying on a continuous basis. Every day in the morning, they don't even eat. First, they have to have the walking and then bathing, and then they want to go to this one particular room that they put some pictures, some statues of gods, and then they were praying, and they made us pray then too. And that was up until uh, high school. After the high school, when we went to the pre-medical school, that was college at this time, and there was complete focus on doing stuff and reading stuff and remembering stuff and discussing stuff and all that, completely modern, right? And they did not talk about religion, they did not talk about faith, they did not talk about anything. There was nothing like a Hindu school or anything like that. Even though there was a college by name Hindu college, it was also like that. There was no prayer, no meditation, nothing, right? But our pre-med school was in the middle of gardens. rose gardens, turmeric gardens, and sunflower gardens, and all that. So I really studied in a beautiful atmosphere because our college was like kind of brand new. They were building it up, and they have only money to build up the walls, and then they did not put up the windows and doors and just let it open, and we can go and sit under the roof, with the open windows, uh, uh, open doors, because there are none, right? Um, but for the time when it rained quite a bit, we were like kind of enjoyed that because we had a very good breeze, and it's being a very hot area. It used to go 117 degrees Fahrenheit during the summer months of May and April. Now it is much more hot, I believe. So we used to welcome that cold breeze from the fields, and we enjoyed it quite a bit. But then we were focused on learning new stuff, and all that, right? So they did not do anything like a prayer and all that. But what they did was, at the after the school closed in the evening, they brought in poets from various areas, and the poets gave us beautiful rendition of old poetry, and that we enjoyed. That may be like a meditative thing too. I don't know, but it was wonderful experience, right? And then we got into the medical school. In the medical school, obviously, nobody talked about meditation or stress or taking care of yourself, self care, none of it. We were just supposed to study and perform and then deliver goods. That's it. And nobody had any inkling of this meditation. I never heard through the entire medical career anybody talking about stress or self care. There was nothing like that. You just have to study, and you just went to study. But then there were a lot of good friendships, a lot of camaraderie, a lot of playfulness, a lot of jokes, and all that. So we enjoyed that. And the only entertainment in town, because there was no TV at the time, the movie theaters. So we used to go to the movie theaters quite often to entertain ourselves. There were English, but not just American, but also English and European movies. Some of them are very good, and then different languages in the Indian context, all that. So we used to enjoy that. But they were basically entertaining, engaging us, our senses, and all that. But nobody really showed us good movies that are really teaching us this kind of meditation at all. Then I ended up in United States, and all the stress has come upon me because I was uprooted from a culture that is very heartful, caring, and everybody thought that you are part of their family. So inclusivity was there in life in India at the time. This was like back in 1980, 81. I came here, right? And then let me see, somebody wants to come. Oh, Mark. Okay. Yeah. Hi, Mark.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, things are good. You know, meditation, when I first started it, the hardest thing to do
Uh huh.
was to just settle down. It was
Yeah.
like I had a timer to, okay, I'll do 3 minutes.
Uh
But I
huh.
couldn't settle down in 3 minutes. And then, okay, I'll do 5 minutes. And then
Uh
I couldn't settle down in 5 minutes. You know, just, I decided that meditation had to remove all the timing
huh.
and just actually not focus on the time,
Hmm.
but focus more on my breath and more on kind of trying to be centered. And it took a while to get it all kind of figured out and working. But once I committed to doing it the right way and learning that it's not about time, it's literally breath and just trying to find your center to slow down. I was
Hmm.
in such a hurry to meditate. Like, okay, I'll sit down 5 minutes and then that'll be good. Like, that's not, I learned quickly that's not how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
To,
That's like a big science. The meditation is. Uh, what I found valuable was my insights into the ancient way of doing the meditation and how they dedicated their entire lives for that. You know, but we can use some of the hacks in modern life because we are always on the
You're
thinking.
fading in and out, Dr. Rao.
Can you hear me now?
I can. I
Uh,
can't hear you right now. You're good.
Okay, I'm putting my phone close to my mouth. That's why. Okay. Uh, so what it is meditation was very useful to really have a lot of human experience inside when the civilization was kind of outward is not that active or not demanded that much of active, so people were content to really calmly sit down and then really close their eyes and go in and find wonderful treasures, and then over centuries of time, so much happened, and that was all kind of forgotten. But now we are kind of getting some hacks, to help people. Especially my concern is, as an informatician, as a physician, I saw a lot of information overload and also the effects of the information overload. People are not trying to really calm their minds and then go to sleep, but they're having more information because of all the inputs that we have from TV, from media, from social media, and
Oh yes.
so
I did a deprivation flow.
yeah, yeah,
Where I got into a chamber
mm,
and like it was water and everything else, and then they closed the little door on you or the
mm.
little window thing.
That's
Uh,
punishment.
huh?
That is punishment. You don't have to do all that. Go ahead, tell me.
I mean, it was, I think it was more of like even within fear, like the fear of it was like, whoa, oh my God, it's intense.
Yeah,
But
I,
once it really,
yeah.
you kind of calm yourself.
Yeah, my
You,
some of my
it's
patients, they can't
it's
go in
powerful.
the into the CT scan tube because they are so scared of the closed space, and I had to give them medication to calm them down before they go into the procedure. So that kind of deprivation is not. I think meditation can be very energizing, peaceful, and also regains all your faculties. You will be much sharper in your intellect and in your memory and also in your focus. That's the purpose of the modern meditation is. And that can be done sitting in the chair, and we teach
Oh,
what's called head to toe scanning, and also you can do it lying down. Um, you want to come back? Come back, Mark. There's nobody on the school. I think I put him 10. Okay, there he is. So Mark is coming back. So, so
listen, I enjoyed talking to you, Dr. Rao.
yeah,
I've seen you, join in on other platforms and other guests and stuff, and you're always so knowledgeable and so inspirational. So much information to soak up.
yeah,
Even though it's there's a lot that has to be.
yeah,
I think that for me,
yeah,
even when I learned meditation, when I
yeah,
first started practicing it, when I first started really getting into it, I didn't know what to do. I think it, that kind of is scary when you don't know what to do. So,
yeah,
when this, you begin to you said some information overload that you instead of trying to figure out if you're doing it right, just figure out how you can shut everything off.
yeah,
You don't want a lot of music or your TV playing, or
yeah,
you want to really quiet your space.
yeah.
It's about
There's
quieting your mind,
there,
not
yeah,
opening your mind to all the noises around you.
yeah. There's uh, more like there's a time for engaging our mind completely in focus and in flow, and there's a time to calm it down, especially at sleep time. A lot of people sleep on lot of things still in their mind. So but if you can empty it a little
Oh
bit
yes.
and go to sleep, it's very energizing in the morning. That's what I'm trying to help with my colleagues or friends who call me with a burnout problem and stress out problem. Whereas work for me is very, very happy affair. And then when I come home, I'm more energized with the work than being dragged down because I do not accumulate things in my mind. That's a technique I do here also. I can be in a number of rooms, but I don't have this overwhelmed feeling that other people are reporting to me. So then I thought I should really tell people about this meditative kind of tricks of the trade, if you can call that. That's, I think, cheapening the meditation, but just to express, give them some hacks, so that people can really yeah, there is Mark is coming again. You disappeared, Mark, suddenly. I don't know what happened. But you came back. That's nice.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I was listening to you,
Yeah,
but I don't know what happened. I
I
don't know.
can
It's
hear you,
kind
but
of buggy. I guess the app got kind of buggy right
yeah,
now. So
yeah, you were in the matrix. Then I could hear you, but you disappeared, but you came back. I'm glad it. Go
I
ahead.
think that you know a lot of times for me and how I was able to how I was able to figure out how to meditate
Mm,
and make it work for myself
mm,
was at first I would like in the morning I would do light yoga morning like literally morning yoga and then kind of 5 minutes of just focused breathing. So
mm.
kind of just more affirmation, meditation, just more focused on breath. And
Yeah.
then in the evening, I did like a more relaxed style of yoga, just
Mm,
getting the feel of that. And then the evening was less focused on breath and more empty in mind and body and everything else. So
yeah.
everything that was of the day all goes out and pours away. So,
Mark, let
you know,
me let me whet your appetite a little bit. Don't take it personal, but
no,
I
no,
just
no.
I just want to indicate some things so that you will appreciate what we're trying to share here. Um, that's good that you are trying to get up and do the physical yoga stretches, but real yoga is for the mind. A lot of people don't know the depth of that. What does it mean is that understanding the functionality of the mind is very well explained in the ancient sciences of yoga, and that is not contradictory to the neuroscience that I'm studying. Anatomically, a lot of correlation happens, but when the mind states calm, and that is very well explained in real yoga science. And posture is only important because they wanted body to be healthy and in shape so that they can sit down and do this act of meditation. You know, that's the
Okay.
purpose of it. And the
Uh-huh.
breathing is like a band-aid. Upasana, they call it. That's a band-aid. Whereas real meditation is like a major surgery. So I just want to whet your appetite. That's why we described that like that. But that's what I
Oh no,
mean.
I
Yeah,
mean you're more you're more in tune than I am.
yeah,
The conversation is about learning from you.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Ah, yeah.
not
No,
explaining what I do, but learning from you.
yeah, yeah. We both are trying to exchange information so that we can learn from each other. That's fine. What I'm saying
Yes.
is, how can we have this really active electric, really developed intellect due to our, availability of knowledge everywhere? But at the
Uh
same
huh.
time, how can we fine tune our mind and protect the mind from getting the ill effects of random information, too much information, or information that is taken to our heart and causing a lot of problems of stress hormones in the body, and thereby a lot of times we don't need the movement of thought, but that happens. So how to deal with those? For example, you are going to public speaking and you feel nervous. Yeah, fine, but you can make use of energy to really reach out to a good speech to other people, like that. Suppose somebody is exam taking, they can be extremely nervous. We can teach them. Korsakoff breathing is there. So many techniques are there where they can use that nervous energy for betterment of their exam rather than acting adversely. So many uses. People who had to sleep to perform better, like surgeons, like all these doctors that have to do very intricate surgery, they need the sleep. Sometimes when you are working as a resident other, they don't have that. So I kind of use the meditative technique to calm the mind so quickly. You go into deep slumber, and that deep slumber itself energizes you quite a bit. I personally used it. That's why I'm talking about that. And people ask me,
Ah,
how is that you can work that 30, 72 hours at a time, but it will still be energetic? Or how is that you have a don't know jet lag when you travel from here to India? You
yeah,
know, because I talk about that all the time, and I try to help people not to have jet lag when they are traveling. You know, so
yes.
I know people who are traveling almost all the year and they never have one jet lag. So the meditation has got tremendous benefits provided we understand it and we enforce it into our life. For example, that's what made me come because I was at a conference today and they were talking about meditative practice and they were doing affirmation, visualization, and all of that. I know the
Uh-huh.
effect of that at one time, but now I don't have to practice. That's the point. I used to practice, but I don't have to practice. I am in the state of meditation all the time. How is that? I wanted to explain to people so that they may try it and then they may find it useful, or they may be therapeutic too for some people who are extremely nervous or depressed or anything like that. So you understand where I'm coming from, right?
Where'd you go, Dr. Rob?
Yeah. No, I'm asking a
Oh, you're
question.
back.
Yeah. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah.
know. I can understand.
Yeah, because it's a subject not that frivolous or simple, but at the same time, it's not impossible to understand either. But we have to go slowly, and I plan to do several sessions on this so that people can understand what I'm talking about and take advantage of that.
Yes.
I'm happy to answer any questions or anything like that. But at the same time, I can teach them too something that I know that I'm doing. I don't like the word teaching. I would say sharing. That kind of you know teaching makes like a more like a guru teacher, which I don't want to portray. I'm more like a physician. I'm always concerned about people coming to me with suffering. That's why I kind of developed these things. You tell me how it started for you, Mark.
How did meditation start for me?
Yeah.
That, um, well, I started using meditation just because I kept within just my job. I became so uh, in tune with trying to do too much.
Yeah.
So I became like overworked and busy. I
Yeah.
was telling myself just to stay busy, stay busy, stay busy, stay busy, stay busy.
Mm.
But I wasn't. I was only being productive in the things that I really focused on early in the morning,
Mm.
and then the things that were like as soon as I got through with the things that were important,
Mm.
I, I continued to focus on things that weren't important.
Mm.
So my brain would just be like, I need to get this done. Like,
Mm.
this has to get done. If I get this done, I'll be ahead tomorrow.
Mm.
Not even considering that tomorrow's important things weren't even here yet.
Okay. Okay.
So I couldn't even do them tomorrow, tonight, today, and tomorrow
Mm.
until tomorrow got here. So I
Yeah.
realized that I was I was doing too much, and
Yeah.
too much kind of formed into beginning to feel burnt out.
Yeah.
Not that I was burnt out. I just
Mm.
was like, okay, I'm overwhelming myself for no reason.
Yeah. You are whipping
Um,
yourself too much, like a horses.
yes,
That's what it is.
yes, I was just overwhelming myself with
Yeah.
too much
So,
that wasn't necessary.
yeah.
And I had one of my mentors is very, she's very like just in the spiritual side of things, slowing
Mm.
down,
Yeah.
breathing, just stepping away from social media and not tuning into TVs and media and just
Yeah.
kind of going back into nature and just doing your thing.
Yes. Let
Just
me
connecting back with the universe's frequency and everything of that nature.
let me give you
And
a saying. I want to think about this, and then we'll talk about it at length. Okay.
okay,
Not today, but some other day.
that sounds good, my man.
Work with intensity, but with no tension. Okay. Second line is relax well, but with no laxity.
I like it.
Let's talk about it when we meet next time. Okay.
Sounds good, my man.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that was Mark Childs. He is very active and very enthusiastic participant in Wisdom. I heard him a couple of times. I'm glad that you came up, Mark, and presented your experience with it. But we have so much more to talk about. Let me finish my journey as I was talking about how I was in the medical school, also not really exposed, but when I came to the United States, I was very stressed because uprooted from the culture and the culture of don't care about you, you don't matter anybody. I actually came from a culture that's very heartful. I was valued, I was loved, I was venerated, all that, right? But here is nobody. You're last one in that. And then I ended up in a big hospital. And first year, I was just minding my business, and then second year, I got this huge promotion to being the chief there, as a resident. And then I have huge responsibility came upon me, and at the same time, a lot of resistance from other physicians. So that stressed me out. Then I happened to have a book, come across a book called "Healing the Healer." That was written by a Boston trained physician who was really stressed out himself, but he wondered how come I wanted to help patients? I want to be nice and kind. I was such a nice guy. Once I came here, after a couple of years of residency training, I became really SOB, and then people are really having tough time to be around me, and I have all this stress on me. So he wrote that book, and in that book, he mentions about how greed is in the system, how people are losing the touch that why they came for the medical field. They all wanted, by and large, most of the people want to help other people, right? That's why they come to the thing. But then we are kind of forgot about it, and then we kind of went into the business side of the medicine and the revenue side of the medicine, which is robbing the humanity of us. And his main conclusion was, when we were trained as a residents, we are dehumanized. you know that made me to think about it, and then I went back to my, I know about yoga, I did some in the high school, because they used to train us in this physical yoga, but nobody talked to me about the mental side of yoga. And later on, I plunged into it. Then I understood, and I picked up a book of BK Iyengar. He wrote that book, Light on Yoga, and he directed it there. And then that was good, but then that's a very big book too. Then I started to practice some exercise and other, but I also used to run. I used to go on the lake and then run there. So that was good. And then I began to understand J. Krishnamurti from his talks. That was real challenge, because uh, he talked about ending the thought. Now I thought, what is this? I was brought up to think deep, to think, understand all that. And now he's saying ending the thought. It was such a huge confusion of uh, what he says, what he was doing is also very, very therapeutic, probably for me, because when I was watching him on videotape, something he said very compassionately touched me, and all my stress dropped just like that. That's the actual. He did nothing. I didn't take any medication or anything like that. I was just focusing on what he was saying. I was listening, because out of respect and out of real attraction to what he was saying, and also fascinated really by his presentation, the passion with which he was talking. Right, this was on the lake. They had this building. They named it Oasis. So it's like spiritual talks, philosophical talks, and elevated thinking, and all that in a city of such magnitude. That is only like a oasis where you can go for such kind of thing. So I was taken there by a friend of mine, and we were sitting and listening to it. And then what he said really made it such an impact on me. I wanted to know more, and I began to go to the presentations of that every Saturday, I think. Every Saturday we used to drive all the way from southern suburbs to north suburbs, and then Oak Park. I think there's Oak Park. We used to go there. There was a library. One of my friends, his name is David. He used to rent, not even rent. He used to have this available because this is such a good activity, and we used to go there, and we used to meet and listen to these tapes and understand what he was talking about. He was talking about human existence, he was talking about human condition, he was talking about human mind and all that. And then he said meditation is not just sitting down and just making your mind calm down. It's much deeper than that. He taught me a lot more about mind. So that's how the next thing started. And then there was a huge practice after I went to New York and did the internal medicine and came back, right? And of course, New York was much more busier than suburbs of Chicago. But then I wanted to do that. I went there, and then that was also very, very stressful conditions and all that. But we didn't have time even to go to the bathroom. The residence was so busy, so there was no way I could really take time to do the meditation. None of them has any idea or anybody doing anything like that. See, we used to work in the morning, 7 o'clock, morning report, and then we are occupied with patients, continuous admissions till midnight. And then by the time we completely done, maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then go home and get ready and come back to the morning report 7 o'clock again. Our chief was very nice to us, but he was like a very strict father, and he cared about all of us. That much was sure. And he interfered with any affair that we have problems or anything like that. He was very strict about our work. We had to work like donkeys. We used to work there, and then that was okay. But then I was returning to my spiritual awareness as much as I can, and that really helped me compared to other people. And then I finished that in 3 years of residency, and then came back and established a practice in near Chicago, in Iowa. And then I was on my own practice and all that all these years, right? But then what happened during my practice was, because I was able to establish my own practice, I was able to really return to all the things that I would like to do. And my patients also were very interested to know about what is real health is, what are the roots of causes of this disease, and then how to really live a good life, what is the nutrition, what is exercise, what is sleep, what is thought control. All these things have come into the light. Then I really opened up to meditation. And then what it was, we used to think our body, our mind is us, right? And then when we go into the ancients, they kind of established the culture of consciousness, where consciousness is to begin with, and out of that conscious being, our body and mind manifest. So, body and mind are our tools. The seer who sees is the one, right? If you experience something, you say, I experience. Who is that I? To whom that experience is happening? That's where you say there is a seer who is seeing the sight, right? And the moment you are there, then your mind processes, your body processes, everything slows down. Okay, that's the secret. Okay, so the difference is when I was not aware of this inner being as our source life or as our real source where we came from, I was stuck in the body mind complex and I was trying to control the body and mind externally, and that worked at the time. And the more sincerely we do, the more it will. But after that, it came back. It's like a vacuum, it comes up, you bang it down, it go down, and it will come back again. Again, you go down like that. You start in the morning all fresh and well, and you have meditated, you calmed your mind down, and you go to the work or whatever you do. All the impulses make your mind work faster. And then a lot of people don't even know how to calm their mind in the morning, and then they went and subjected, and they continued into the evening, and then in the evening also they did not unwind. They exposed themselves to TV movie, which I did, everybody else did, right? And then we sleep on those impulses, and the mind never rested. It will have a lot of dreams, and also lots of times it's not enough time of good sleep in the sense of deep sleep, and then they get up in the morning, and then again immediately get up and run with thought, with work and all that. So this cycle has continued for so many people, and eventually the machine breaks down in the middle age or old age, whatever. And there's so many problems I have seen as a physician: dementia, memory loss, amnesia, addiction, all those, so many things I've seen, right? And I was not just treating them, I was studying them both from the modern perspective and also the ancient perspective. Then I found out the what made the ancients so much longer life and also so much healthier life was they were doing a lot of inner work, and that was something was not taught to us. But then I discovered a lot of things as I went into that, and then there was this problem with the religion and the faith and all that, right? So people don't want to pay attention to some of the ancients very good things that they discovered in terms of consciousness, in terms of mind, in terms of our energy and all those things, right? Then I brought them into my life, which has changed. Then now it is like when I deep breathe, I'm like, who am I? When I hold this, I'm that life force. When I breathe out, I'm not just this body and mind. That kind of thing. So uh, even thinking about it all the time, you have an opportunity to do that, not just any time. But I don't have to do it all the time either because you are stationed in your real source, and then you use mind and body as tools. So that is the journey where I was not at all meditating to sitting down and meditating twice to really understanding the mechanisms of the mind and really implementing different kind of lifestyle processes. But I don't have to drink. I don't have to take any medications. But you can have a very quiet, serene solitude of the mind. This is a function of the mind. If you don't have the solitude of mind, this is Ramana said, uh, you go to a retreat, you go to any place that is very, very calm, but you take all the things that are going on in your mind, and you may not be having the good time that otherwise you will have. On the other hand, if you have solitude of mind as a function, and then you go to a big crowd. People just tested this in the middle of Times Square, in middle of most busiest street on the Japan. These two places my friend tested. So he testified how he was testing, yeah, how I'm going to react to this, right? And luckily he found he was stable, right? So that's why he was happily sharing that experience, and for me also, outward activity may be frenetic. A lot of things are going around. It happened to me in New York. I was the emergency room physician right after my residency, and so I was in charge of the CC1, where all life-threatening cases were coming. So when I was there, I kind of uh, had to deal with three or four cardiac arrests at the same time in the morning, because they were waiting for us to open, and they used to bring the most serious cases to us, and then immediately they come to CC1. This is the first place we receive. And there's a corner there that we put all the people there. There are no beds, railings, or anything like that in between beds. All beds are rolled into, we can fit up to 10 beds in a big hall, But then everything has its own monitor now. So one time I remember three cardiacs came, and I had to stand in the center, and then I have teams, right? One team is for the recording, one team is for giving the medications, another is the cardio pulmonary resuscitation. We work on the patient, right? And also defibrillation. Like that, I used to have the team members take their roles and then do them. And then suppose I say, okay, check the pulse, okay, stop the CPR, or do the epinephrine, or do the 300 joule direct shock, like that. I used to give them, seeing the rhythm and getting the input. And then we rolled so uh, very meticulously, but at the same time, non-hesitated way, because I am the one who is in there very calm because of my meditativeness, right? So only pay attention to what the patient needs. Only pay attention to what it is. Nothing else comes. That kind of calm solitude of mind worked very well for me, to perform, rather survive the situation, you can say, but we did well, with that, and then there was a massive impact on my teams, because I was focusing, I was not getting nervous, I was not getting fearful or anything like that. So they asked me, "What's going on? How can you be like that? Are you a weirdo or something?" Because they're so close to me, they can talk like that. So I said, "No, I'm not weirdo. You guys are the weirdos because you run around doing all sorts of things without controlling your mind." Then this practice of meditation, me talking to people, has come. And I believe by talking to people and teaching them, I kind of was very, went into the details much better. That's happened to me on the clubhouse also. When I first came in clubhouse, I was used to talk 1.5 hour, 2 hours on any lecture anybody asked me to come and talk about, and all that, right? And also on my webinars on the Saturdays, I was doing ever since the COVID started. I think it's January 2020 I started it, and then I was doing that every. It was fun. It was important. It was needed, and I felt like I'm doing something service to the COVID patients, and also my friends and relatives, right? So that was good. But then this calmness always helped that, you know. That's why I encourage people not to just go and talk appropriate, okay, but also make sure you have silence in your mind, and that's very very important. So now my thing is, I don't have to meditate. I have a state of being is meditativeness, you know. That is possible. I'm an ordinary man, but it's possible for like me, for everybody too. You don't have to take a religion, you don't have to believe certain god, and all you have to do is you have to understand your own movement of thoughts in situations and then correct them, so I'm happy to invite somebody else is coming. Let's see. Oh, Kristen. Yeah, Kristen is my friend of mine. Yeah, nice to see you. Hi, Kristen.
Friends. Hi.
How are
Okay,
you?
so I just jumped on, so I'm not sure what I missed. But I'm
Oh,
gonna ask a question. I hope it's not redundant.
no, I was talking about meditation then and now. How I was doing meditation before and what is the difference now. I wanted to show them the advantages of being in meditativeness all the time, you know. So I'm a living representative of that, and you don't have to be anything, no religion, nothing, but you understand the mechanism of movement of thought, you can do that, so this is not going to be one hour thought. I'm going to do a series on this so that people understand what I'm talking about, and then Maybe they
Yeah.
can get some hacks that they can use in their life. See, basically, I'm very concerned about this information overload question, you know, and I see a lot
Yes.
of people getting burnout, getting nervous, overworked, and all that, right? So I kind of teach them about how to be calm, even in the circumstances when it is really, too much. So that has been a good service, I think, So I'm sharing that here too. You tell me,
Okay.
what you must be knowing a lot about this. Tell me.
Well, I've had a lot of experience with meditation, but I recently found myself in kind of the state you're talking about,
Mm,
like where I'm just kind of, I don't know, walking around in a meditative state, I guess, where I'm just in kind of flow and
mm,
flowing from one thought to the other. But then my brain goes, oh no, you still have to
yeah,
actually sit and do a meditation.
yeah.
And so is that true?
Well,
Because there's days I don't feel like I need it, but I feel
mm,
like I should. Is that a thing?
yeah.
Like,
Basically, what it is, Kristen, if you are really seated in your life source, then the mind becomes a tool. And it's much more easier to really see the activity and then inquire into that activity and then settle down where thought is under your control and you can be on demand. You can ask it to come out and then do it, but then after it's done you will not have the continuity of that. So this operation of mind body complex becomes much easier because you are the one who is experiencing. I experienced this, then you are that force of life that you are experiencing. Staying in that is our difficulty. We get carried away with our thoughts, and then our persona, our thought built egoic structure. Once we see that, then we will really come out of that. That is the difficulty because everybody talks at that level, right? And the mind level, and we kind of relate like that. We kind of exchange information like that, and that's why we kind of establish that very soon we develop our personality. But our persona is something acquired, conditioned, and
right.
once you realize that, you stay in your real source of life or being, then that's the only asana we really have to know. By the way, once I understood that, all the physical asanas, everything also become much more intuitive, awarenessful, and also the stature become much better.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah,
So let's say I'm dealing with a challenging person
yeah,
and I'm staying very centered during this, but at
yeah,
some point, the energy coming at me is too much.
yeah, yeah. That's
How do I stay in that and
yeah,
not join them? Like I'm pretty good at it, but there
yeah.
is a break point.
The
It's
first
it's
thing
at a
is,
long fuse, Dr. Ralph,
yeah,
but I can get there. When I
I know,
get there,
I
I'm
know,
like,
I know. But do you know I was a very short-tempered physician at one time,
wow,
and people don't believe that, but that is true because I have no idea the source and all that, right? I was letting
right,
go
right.
whatever the impulse. What happens is other person is throwing arrows at us with the mind. We react with the mind, then all these things happen. But
Yes, yes,
if we
yes.
can
So would
see,
my thing
yeah,
be? Oh,
if
go
we
ahead.
if we can see,
So I'm wondering
if we
if I
can,
just observe, if I just observe,
yeah, observe, not only
rather
observe, not only
rather
observe.
than getting caught up in the
No, no, be aware that man's mind is throwing at things with you, the mental status. But that is our
mhm,
tool, the real source you want to see. And
yeah,
then what happens is our mind won't react to them because we are aware of it now, right? So like my patient, for example, he comes and one time they come and then they will be very sweet with me, and then when they go to the billing desk and they pick up a quarrel or something, they don't want to pay or they have a bill, whatever happens there, and then will be very nasty to my staff, you know and then they come and complain to me, and then next time he comes, should I keep that image in my thing, or should I treat him because he's came in suffering to me this time? you know.
Yes, and yes.
Yeah, if I let my mind react to the person, then I'm like anybody else, right? But what I do is I will know that his mind status where he is at is not beyond that. So what he's coming as is he doesn't know what he is doing. Like Christ said, forgive them, Father, they don't know what they are doing. That's what happens to that guy. But if I can relate to the being, that's where him and me are really one energy, then I will take care of him first because I'm not letting my mind go into the memory and bring it and deal with it now. So I'm kind of bringing my real heart into the operation, and then I will treat him what I want, and then later on he can deal with the money insurance problem, whatever it is later. I also showing to my staff how to deal humanistically, and then also do the business. So you remember that man is coming from his mind but not his true source because he doesn't know. And then you don't let that influence you because you are staying not in your mind, which is reacting, but in your true source.
Yes.
So I think you are there, Christian, all the time, but otherwise you would not even do all these attempts. But then, see, this is why I like physiology that was explained by yoga. They said actually we are our real souls, and our body mind is all one body that has 5 layers that surround our true source. And the first layer is our gross body, second layer is our energy body, third layer is our mental body, which is reacting, you know, and the fourth layer is our understanding, intellect, discriminatory capacity. And the fifth layer is our happiness, sadness, blissfulness, all that. These 5 layers actually surround our real self. So our problem is modern life. We are get caught up in that third layer of mind. So once we realize that, we will use the mind for any scientific or any external things and all that, but we don't let them dictate how we react to everything.
Yes.
Does that make sense, or is it too esoteric?
No, I get it. It's
Yeah.
just a thing. It's just a sinking into it because
Yeah.
a lot of times when I talk to you about these things,
Yeah.
they've crossed my mind. Like it's not foreign to me.
Yeah. Good. Good.
It's that maybe I haven't had proper training,
No,
and
not
so
only,
I'm
not
coming
only.
across these things organically.
Yeah, not only
And
that, but you know what
yeah,
what happens every day. We are even our own friends and our own family and everybody. They are coming from the third layer, and we react automatically from the third layer. We don't go beyond that at that time, and we are not aware of it. That is the training you should have.
yeah,
See, I
yeah,
use life as a lab of how I. So it's like a mirror me. That's how I got rid of all the stupid short temper and all those that are gone that way.
yeah,
So it's like you
yeah,
can see yourself in the lab of the life by the way you are reacting. Not the other person is the problem. How we are reacting, we can see like in a mirror. So relationship is the mirror in which we see as we are, and then go from there.
I'm laughing inside. I don't mean to cut you off, but before I forget, I'm thinking the other day I was dealing with something that was a little.
Oh, you can come back, Kristen. I think.
I was dealing with something that was a little bit tumultuous.
Yeah.
And I remember, what the person was doing was not cool, right? It was not okay. And I remember asking God, I'm like, what is my answer? And my answer was compassion. So my brain was like, no, this person is wrong. This is not okay.
Yeah.
Hold this line, hold this boundary. And my message was compassion. And I said, okay, I know this.
Yes.
And I had
things on the compassion. I think you will like them, Kristen. Okay.
Yes.
One is compassion. Calm is like a for everybody. Passion for everybody. That's one thing. Okay. Other thing is when the element of divinity in the other person, and you say, I am showing compassion like you are superior than the divinity, that's what this is frowned upon. They will say, he gave you a chance to serve the divinity, so you be grateful, not being magnanimous about yourself. I mean, those are two definitions that made impression on me. That's why I'm telling you. I'm not addressing our internal state. I'm just yeah. So it is a.
Because let me ask you this, Dr. Rao. When we are pointing at somebody else, even if on, for all practical layers, anybody would say, yeah, that's not okay. That's not okay.
Yeah.
But are we positioning ourselves egoically above them?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
okay,
it's the ego of us pointing to the ego of them. But you go beyond that, then there's no ego clash at all. I see that all the time, all the people, because they are coming from what they know. They don't even know sometimes. They react from the ego.
Right.
And they don't even know. But I see that right away. But then I don't pounce on them right away because uh, they don't know what they're doing, really.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't. And
but one thing I can tell you, when you are transcend that ego, it's very peaceful for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I've been in that space before.
Yeah, but there is.
I told you that I've been in that space
Yeah,
before.
I'm sure.
And then through other just, learning and up leveling.
Yeah.
But this is what this particular situation felt like to me. I felt like, well, of course, I know this is for me. It's for me, another level for me. But when I got that, the message to me was, get back into your spirit. You know what's happening here. This is not about being right or being wrong.
Kristen, let me suggest something for you. Play with this, okay? Yeah, it's not like something homework or anything, but play with this.
Oh, I want homework. Give me homework.
Tomorrow, put some time from morning till noon, okay? How many times you really identified somebody opposite to you talking from their ego, okay? And how many times you responded from your ego? That's all. Okay.
I do that. I do that already.
Yeah. Then you should be transcending the ego all the time.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I do it, but I don't maybe transcend the ego.
Yeah.
Maybe I just notice.
Yes. But the moment you notice it, it will come. It's like a ghost. If you think there's a ghost on the tree, and you'll be all fearful, right? But if you look into it is closely, it's not nothing there. Then your fear is gone.
Okay.
So your shadow of ego is always there, but you are not aware of it. It will exert itself. But if you can look into it, what is this image? What of mine? What is this shadow I'm looking at? It will disappear. So you and me are talking, right?
I love that.
I talk to Kristen, and I talk to the being within. Kristen named is given to her, but actually beyond all that, she is the being.
Right.
That source of life, which all the living beings, not just the human beings, everybody has. So if I enter a patient, I look at that being, if all the other filters fall off. Otherwise, I will say, oh, this person is from this country or this language or this culture, this all those filters fall off. Yeah. And that's very, very uplifting and enriching for us, first of all. I don't want to give those things because people will be corrupted about those. And again, they will rekindle the ego. But actually, the feeling I'm talking about, the intuitive feeling that you feel is so liberating, Kristen.
For sure.
Because you don't have any divisions within us, right? I'm talking to Kristen, but I'm talking to the being where we are all the same.
Yes.
Then why do I have to say I'm more knowledgeable than you? I'm more. Who is that saying? That's the ego.
Hmm.
The moment we see that, like I was in the class with somebody, and it was a wonderful experience because they were very heartful. They were not separating people according to the experience or whatever socioeconomic, all of that is not there. But then I was aware of that, what is going on there.
Hmm.
And that is a real freedom from the see the whole purpose of the religions is to transgress the ego, understand where its role was and where it has become our persona, our everything. You see the explanation they gave. Spiritual heart is the beginning. Out of that, the mind comes to guide us for the regular physicalities of it. But then psychologically, we identify with that outward mind, and then traveling back to our source is our spirit.
It makes
Yeah.
yeah.
Once.
So where I've challenged lately,
Yeah.
I subconsciously knew
Mm.
because, like I said, I do have a long fuse. I
Yeah.
really do.
Ah,
But then
yeah.
there's a breaking point where I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
like I can really stay in that.
Yeah.
And it depends who. Like it depends how long it's coming at me. It
Yeah.
depends on like if I'm staying in that space and that person's not
That is the
coming
that's the
back down or what have you. But what I've also known
yeah.
is that the more I stay rooted in love and my peace,
Yeah.
the faster they get through their ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
that thing?
That's
Because
the
I've
thing.
noticed
That's the
that.
thing. Because if you are having any trace of ego, then you are not in love.
Yeah, for sure.
See, I have a small. I play this mnemonic game, because I deal with my children, with my colleagues, with my friends. They don't want to read too much or too much discussion. They want everything short, right? So I can GPS love is the one that I used for explaining Bhagavad Gita. That's a big text. A lot of people read for years. They can't understand either, but then they don't think it's relevant, but it's really relevant in like anything else. The GPS stands for G for Sanskrit word of gnana. Gnana means knowledge. Knowledge of what? That we are all in the being level or nirvana. And because that is a purifies your mind, you are in love. And when you are
Yeah.
love, you have this sukha santosh, that means welfare and comfort, and also you will have strength from it, and because you are all this, you are really powerful, you know that kind of thing. All the Sanskrit words are there, but I put use the GPS law very appropriately, and they were able to understand that complicated, very very a big deal. And then at least they are not developing these images about people and then separating them from themselves. One energy, right? But we separate ourselves by thinking we are different energies, and then
Yeah.
we
Yep.
have problem.
It's always that returning.
Yes,
Right?
that's
It's
it.
that returning and returning and returning.
Return to the source. Return to the source. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's it.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Al. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember our conversation the last time we talked when I was getting tripped up with my book, but I took your wise counsel and I applied it, and boom,
Ah, good. Very good.
boom,
Very good. Yeah.
blowing through it. It feels really good. So
I like to talk to you, Kristen, all the time. So
thank you so much. I appreciate you. Keep doing the thing you do, my friend.
I will. I will. I can't be anything else. Probably.
Thank you. Namaste.
Okay. Bye bye. That was Kristen, my friend. So yeah, she was giving us opportunity for us how to look ourselves in the mirror of relationship and learn more about ourselves. That way we can really attain that solitude of mind I was talking about, that peaceful, not peaceful, it is itself is peace, happiness, and bliss, uh, that ancient described as being that is really conscious, but the existence that always there. So it's a blissful conscious being, you know. And once you are established in that, the mind movements won't be out of whack and going. See, this requires a lot of understanding and training, because people don't even understand that they are conditioned by their family, by their education, and by the societal pressures, and so many things, right? And then that conditioning, freeing from that is itself a big deal. So you are so powerfully conditioned that sometimes it takes over you, and then it kind of runs your life, right? Okay? That's when you say things that may be not appropriate, or maybe causing friction in relationship or everything else. And then you want to find some peace, you want to quiet your mind, you want, that's when these all these mind control measures that kind of uses mind to calm it. But then, if the mind is projecting the solutions, they're not really real, right? So, you want to understand what is this mind? Is there a mind at all? And when you look at like that, like the ghost, there is no mind. There are only a lot of thoughts. And then you'll understand how thoughts form, how thoughts can get ingrained in your brain as ingrained thoughts. They call them samskaras, or tendencies. They call them vasanas. And then once you allow them to form firmly, deeply into your mind, this is what happens with a lot of old people. They think about something all through their life without really paying attention and trying to get rid of it. And they form this subconscious reserve of thoughts, and they come up. So that's why whenever you are living in the present, what happens is that means you are always present. You are not bringing the past into here, or you are taking into the future. What that means is you are not living in there in a psychological way. But if you are present here and now and living here and now, you can have the wisdom of the past or planning of the future, but you don't go and live there. You live in the present, and then that everything changes, I think. Yeah. So those are some of the areas we wanted to talk about. How I was doing twice a day, sitting down. Sometimes I don't even have the time to do that at the time, but the attraction of having some peace of mind and settling down has become an avocation. And then later on, I was very interested as a scientist why the yogis lived that long and remained very alert and aware in their mind. And I went and studied and then found all these wonderful insights, that helped me to understand and live that, and then I think I did myself the biggest favor. I am not on any medications anymore. I don't really uh, worry about things, but I do things, but I don't let my sit down and worry. I remember when I was very early, sometimes the thoughts come so much like a patient situations, especially in residency, we have enormous pressure, right? We have to figure it out by tomorrow morning, and we have to present all the data in the morning report. Otherwise, our chief will tear us apart. So we are terrified of that, and that's why we used to have sleepless nights, even though our bodies and minds are completely exhausted. We are gripped by the anxiety, and we have to find the answer. Go do the tap of the lumbar spine and get the fluid, find the where the infection is, that kind of thing. This is unnecessary. I think if you teach kids now, I think that's the biggest concern I have is we are teaching kids how to raise their minds, and that's a very serious damage we are doing to them. Attention deficit is growing like anything. Suicide tendencies are growing anything, and these kids are not really learning how to relate to other people that easily, and they don't have the emotional intelligence sometimes. So all these serious issues. So if you can attend to the side effects of this, but at the same time, use the technology for the good it can do. I think I use the technology too, but I am in control most of the time. Once you cultivate that, which is possible for everybody, and then use thought as a tool, as a communication tool, as a research tool, as building a relationship and all that. That's all fine, right? But then, if it is allowed in an automatic pilot where it takes you wherever you want to take, and then you are contributing to it, amplifying it by subjecting yourself to the devices all the time. Can you do the digital sunset I talk about? Shut it off with the sunset. Shut off unless you are doing something like this. But why does it have to be unconscious? Why does it have to be late into the night? Why does it have to disturb the diurnal rhythms? Those are the questions that we have to ask. They are very simple questions, and any parent can understand and then train the kids that way. Maybe there should be awareness of this in a much bigger way. Then we can really help the kids to develop nice brains that are really useful for them, but not controlling them. Other thing is, if you allow the conditioning to be the dominant um, element in the human being as a whole, then that conditioning can be done by somebody else. And then that's what's happening. All this social media, Facebook and Instagram, everything, they are really uh, trying to control your attention span or take away your attention span. That's a big crime they are doing. As far as I'm concerned, because I see the other side of the lack of attention span, the suffering, ADHD, anxiety, depression, suicides, divorce rate, and then not able to study very well, not able to have very high technology degrees, and all they have to import everybody from everywhere else. And those people are also copying the same culture in the other countries where it was not there before. Now it is instant. I don't consider any East and West that much. Maybe some countries like India, they have some living traditions of religion that may be helping them because they pray and then they do the real yoga meditation and all that. But then not a large part of the country. Only some people do it. But the urban rich, educated, they are the worst. They don't know the ancient Indian culture, and they don't really rever it like they should. And they are not completely into the Western culture where people are responsible, punctual, and also um, largely not correct. That kind of things have. So they are lost between not adopting the ancient culture and then not understanding what is the good in the modern culture. I said this to so many times. People are unhappy, but that's the truth. You know. So if your culture has produced something like a yoga, which is the science of mind, it's not the body. It's actually science of the mind. Or mind, the Patanjali, the author who really compiled this, yoga was there even thousands of years before him, but he kind of compiled all of that and put it in a nice order that you could practice in 8 steps, right? One of the steps is this posture, you know. But then everybody else thinks I'm doing this yoga posture very well, so I know yoga. No, you don't, you are not trying to scratch the surface. And modern doctor, one guy came, he's an immunology guy, and he came from southern India, I think. And we were talking about, I used the word like science of yoga, which is really science because they didn't base on the belief or anything. They investigated, they found the truth about things, and then they went to all the way to cellular too, because that's their capacity. You don't understand that, and then you just say, oh, you don't say that's a science. That's stupid. You don't know anything, and you're talking about something that is very valuable for human beings. So now I'm a modern doctor trained completely in English and also modern text and everything, grace anatomy, all those things we read, right? and we kind of studied allopathy. There are a lot of good things in allopathy, but then they are really miserably failing in chronic disease control and improving the outcomes. That's where I found ancient wisdom really helpful for us. So you got to examine those things and adopt the things as they are presented to you. You know, but then you have to investigate and find the truth of it. Don't believe it just like that. You use your mind and go and find out. And if the truth is there, then if you are not following, that's your affair. But then, what are we doing to the kids? We are leaving a very bad planet, and also we are leaving a very badly affected minds. And that's a tragedy. I think I see that unfolding every day. That makes me come and talk like this. All right. Anybody else wants to come up, and then we can talk more about it. Otherwise, see, let me see. A lot of people are there. Uh, Marcos here. I wonder Julie can come up and talk to me what she thinks about it. Sanya is there too. And Gracilia, I don't know whether she is still there or not. Anyway, so that is a serious problem. I'll talk once in a while, not every day, but once in a while I'll come and talk about it. Actually, this was initiated in the conference I was. We were talking about affirmation and visualization. Then I kind of told them I don't do any of those things anymore, but I'm all meditative all the time. I may use the language, I may do it, but then I enjoy not intrusion of the thoughts. That way, I'm silent. That way, whatever I'm doing, I'm focused on that. That's not a egotistical thing. That's actually a fact. That anybody can get into that. That's my point. Unless you are transcended the ego, understand and then see when it is coming up, when you should control it, you will not be able to be in meditation. You'll be in egotistical thinking, but not meditativeness. That is subjectively, you will feel the peace and quiet by yourself. That's a quality you enjoy, and that's a very, very good thing for us. Okay. All right. If everybody's satisfied with all we have to talk about, they don't have anything to talk about or discuss. That is fine. I'm glad they came and listened. Whoever listened for a while. I'm glad a couple of my friends came, Mark and Kristen. I thank you for them. And I'll be seeing you again at some other time. I think it's almost 8 o'clock now here. So I'll stop it here and I'll see you next time. Thank you.
Come put together a Get in Tune box with me. I disclose come put together